Who should get the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine booster shot that was just authorized under emergency use by the FDA? Well, things just got a little more complicated. The CDC advisory panel just voted. So this part is easy and it matches what the FDA already said. The CDC advisory panel voted unanimously today to recommend the Pfizer booster shot for those ages 65 and older and nursing home residents. That booster can be given 6 months after full vaccination. In divided votes, the CDC panel ultimately did recommend those 18 to 64 with underlying conditions to get the booster at least 6 months after full vaccination. However, they said if you're between the ages of 18 to 49 and have underlying conditions, you should probably consult with your doctor first. Here's where the CDC panel disagreed with the FDA's emergency use authorization for the Pfizer booster. The CDC panel, after much debate, did not recommend a booster for people at risk of COVID-19 because of their job or increased exposure to it. Now, these recommendations go to the CDC director, and she will either accept or deny them. Answering your 5 most common concerns about the debt ceiling and the possibility of the U.S. government defaulting on our debt. We go through this every year, blaming one specific president. We need to stop all this spending. Who are we in debt to? And Democrats should just raise the debt ceiling on their own without Republicans. Let's go. Number 1, we go through this every year. No, we don't. You're actually confusing the debt ceiling issue with a regular government shutdown. These are 2 very different things. It just so happens that both are happening at the same time. Yes, the threat of a government shutdown happens every year because Congress has to agree on some sort of annual spending plan. But the debate about raising the debt ceiling does not happen every year. The last time the debt ceiling was increased was under President Trump in March of 2019 and then suspended in August of 2019. Rather than raise the debt ceiling by a specific amount, sometimes lawmakers suspend the debt ceiling for a period of time to allow the Treasury Department to borrow whatever it needs. That's what happened the last time under President Trump, and that's what the Democrats want to do now. In fact, that's the way the bill was passed in the House that I told you about in this video earlier this week. But at this point, that bill won't pass the Senate. Number 2, blaming one specific president. This problem started long before both President Trump and President Biden. How far back? Let me put it to you this way. The U.S. government has always outspent what it brings in. That's why Congress established the debt ceiling in 1917. Number 3, we need to stop all this spending. Well, depending on your politics, that may be true, but stopping all this spending won't solve the problem we are facing right now. Raising the debt ceiling today pays for yesterday's bills, and that bill is due in mid-October. Also, it's important for you to understand that by raising the debt ceiling, that does not authorize any new spending. Raising the debt ceiling just allows the government to pay the bills we already owe. The debt ceiling is a legal issue, not a fiscal one. Who are we in debt to then? Well, about 70% of the U.S. public debt is owned by the U.S. government, investors like state and private pension funds, and the Federal Reserve. So basically, we own it. Just under 30% is owned by foreign investors and foreign entities and governments like China, Japan, Brazil, the UK, and many more. Well, why can't Democrats just raise the debt ceiling on their own without Republicans? They're the majority, right? Well, technically that can happen, and it might in this case. However, the debt ceiling increase has always been a bipartisan process, and usually raising the debt ceiling is a benign issue. But in recent years, it's become a political football, and it looks bad at this point if one party does it without the other.